Comic Book Savant, episode 394. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. This episode is going to be another Cutting the Stack episode. I know I told you guys I had a couple in the queue of books that I had been reading that I've been dying to talk to you guys about. This episode is going to be focused on DC. Last one was Valiant. This one is going to be DC. But before I get into the comic book reviews, as always, I'd like to give a shout out to my friends over at the Comics Podcast Network. If you haven't had a chance to check them out, please do so. You can find them over at comicspodcast.com. If you like what I do here and you're looking for more like-minded content, comic book related podcasts, and internet-based shows about comic books, check out the Comics Podcast Network. There are literally hundreds of different shows listed there for you to check out. Everything from publisher-related, team-related, character-focused shows. So is as many genres as there is comics for you to check out from top to bottom. If you like a single-person podcast like myself, or you like a more group roundtable discussion, they have all shapes, sizes, and varieties for you to check out. So if you have a moment, stop by the Comics Podcast Network at comicspodcast.com and check out some of the shows there. And don't forget, too, like, if you do get a moment to go over there and you check out some content, if you like it, please give the creators feedback. That always means a ton. I know it uplifts me and it helps me kind of monitor where I'm going as a content creator on what you guys want to hear or what you guys might want to hear me talk about when you give me said feedback. So definitely, if you do that, take a moment to do that, because it goes a great deal in improving that podcast. If you like it or you enjoyed it, tell them what you liked and tell them things that you might not have liked so much, so they can take it constructively and put that into the show. So with all that being said, also like to give a shout out to our sponsor for this episode, which is InStockTrades.com, one of the best places you can go online when it goes to finding collected editions, omnibuses, absolute editions, manga, also any type of collected comic editions, like things like the oversized collections, something like Action Comics 1000, where they have that oversized bound edition. They specialize in all those kind of bound editions and collections over at InStockTrades.com. They have discounts ranging from 35%, 42% to up to 50% off. So you definitely want to check that out. Every Tuesday, I think Tuesday afternoon, they update their homepage with their deals of the week, and they spotlight a handful of books. They discount those up to 50% off. If you're a U.S.-based customer, you get, if you place an order $50 or more, you get free shipping within the U.S. That's for only U.S.-based customers. If you happen to be someone that listens to the podcast and you're outside of the U.S., you still can get all the great deals and savings. You just don't get that extra free shipping, but they have some of the most competitive and cheapest international shipping rates around, so you can still take advantage and save a butt ton of money. So again, don't let that deter you from not trying out the website. And if you do try out InStockTrades.com, drop them a line and let them know that you did hear about them here first on Comic Book Savant. That helps me a ton. So with all that being said, let's dive into these comic book reviews. So I'm going to be talking about a handful of books. I read 5 issues. Most of them I was finishing off the run from the last time I did a DC Rebirth or DC Cutting the Stack, excuse me, with that first arc of Tom King's Batman. So I'll be reviewing issues 4, 5, and 6. I'll also be talking about Harley Quinn issue 1, as well as Wonder Woman issue 4 of the Rebirth series, kind of picking up those threads from previous DC Rebirth Cutting the Stack episodes. So let me just get into Batman issue 4, 5, and 6, since they're all by the same creative team. We have written by Tom King, artwork done by David Finch. Inker is Matt Banning. Colorist is Jordi Belair. And lettering is John Workman. And I basically gave these issues, all 3 issues, kind of the same rating. I gave them a good read, an 8 out of 10. They're very strong. Like I said, I wasn't familiar with too much of Tom King's work before this. I knew he did work on the Grayson series, which I've picked up some of. I think I've read like maybe 1 or 2 issues only of it. So I wasn't too familiar with Tom King going into all this. I've seen him recently, especially this past summer, with the new Heroes in Crisis event that he's kind of headlining over at DC in the fall. I've seen him do a lot of interviews, and he seems like a really cool dude. I dug this story arc. It was very interesting about Gotham and Gotham Girl, and this whole concept of having superpower heroes in Gotham, and it challenging Bruce's mortality, and then Bruce going into like digging into their backgrounds and getting their backstory. Always have been a fan of David Finch's artwork. He's great when it comes to action scenes and big action, big poses, and things like that. Always been great with that. And so it's a good pairing for this first story arc coming out of the gate. It went darker than what I kind of thought this whole story was going to go by the end of the story arc, but I think I'm on board to read more of the Tom King stuff. I don't know if I picked up any more. I wanted to get this first arc under my belt to see how I felt about it. I'm intrigued to go further with it. Again, not it's a different take coming off of Scott Snyder's epic run on Batman, and even before him and Greg Capullo did Batman, he did when he first started out, he was doing Detective Comics. It was such an epic run and such a big shoes to fill. It's always hard being that next writer to come off an epic run of a book with such a huge character as Batman. But I think Tom King has his own, niche, and he's running with it. These are early. I'm way behind, so this is just the first 6 issues that I'm getting a sample of. We're already in. Because I think this book comes out bi-monthly, so it comes out like it's 2 issues a month. They're already at issue 50. They had the whole thing with the wedding, which is a whole other thing in itself. He's saying his run is intended to be a 100-issue run. He's at the halfway point, and he has a distinct ending that he's shooting for when all this is going to be all said and done. And he has it. Again, I'm not that far along in his run. This is just the first arc in his run. I don't feel like I feel like he's maintained the quality of the book, but then at the same time, he's carved his own lane, and his Batman is definitely a more introspective take on the character in a way, and it's not right now. It's just the stories feel way more personal than the big arching sprawling story arcs that some of the Scott Snyder stuff had. So it's different, but it's different, but still good. So like I said, I'm on board to read more as I get time to, because the backlog is like, we know as comic book fans, our backlog and our stacks get ridiculous. So I still haven't even finished all of Scott Snyder's tail end of his Batman run, which I need to finish up. So we'll get back to Tom King after I probably finish Scott Snyder's run and get all caught up at some point, if I ever get caught up. It seems like you will never get caught up because there's so many books constantly coming out, but we try, and that's the dream, that at some point we're perfectly going to get caught up and read everything we want to, but it's hard. It's very hard at times. Next book, I got this book, and I talked about this in the Comic Haul issue that I last episode I did for the Comic Haul, where I got this free from where did I get it from? Batman Telltale Batman game. I got I got it for free for ordering it. They have a link in the game where it's like, hey, do you want some free comics? I was like, hey, sure, I want some free comics. And I signed up for it, and they sent me a bundle of free issues. And I think it was I got four issues free. And one of these was the Harley Quinn relaunch, the 2013-2016 number one issue, and also got the 2016 number one issue. So I got the Rebirth issue 1 and then the New 52 issue. So I read I think this is the New 52 one that I read. I can't remember. I forgot to put the year beside the book because I had the multiple number ones. But I want to say this is the New 52, I think, but don't quote me on that. That I checked out. And I haven't really read Harley Quinn much in comic books. It's been very sparse, to say the least. So I was just curious to see. This is written by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti. Artwork is done by Chad Harding. Colorist is Alex Sinclair, and lettering is done by Dave Sharp. I have to say, I never read Harley Quinn in a comic, and I not much of her in comics, but I wasn't impressed. For me, it was hard to get through this one issue, and it's bad when you're reading one issue of something, trying to get the bearings of it, and I just wasn't into it. I didn't like it from the beginning to the end. It was just all over the place. It was, I've heard things about they have Harley Quinn kind of being the DC equivalent to maybe kind of a Deadpool type character, and it just missed the mark for me. It could be a good book for some. It just didn't work for me. I gave it a 4 out of 10, which on my rating scale is a skip it. I would, I got it. I'm happy I got it for free. I would, I would be really mad if I even paid like 99 cents for this book and read it, and I read what I read. I would have been angry. But since I got it for free, and it is a few minutes of my life I won't be ever able to get back. But it is what it is. I tried it. I didn't like it. I might read the other number one issue I have. Hey, it's free, so you might see me reviewing that in another the next episode I do of like the DC Rebirth Cutting the Stack episode. I might go ahead and knock it out and read it, and so I could be done with it. But yeah, really didn't like it. Wasn't feeling the vibe of it. I just feel like it might work for some. I'm just not the demographic. I've been saying that a lot now because I'm realizing not everything just because it's a comic book and it's written doesn't mean it's for me. And never feel bad as being a comic book reader and a comic book fan that you don't like every comic book. You're not going to like everything you read. You try it, you read it, you make your peace with it, just like I just did in this review, and then you move on because you never have to read it again. But at least you tried it, and that's the risk with anything that you consume, far as food, art, entertainment. You're not always going to like it, but again, you tried it, and you don't know if you're going to like something until you try it. So it's a part of the game that we play as fans of comic books. But never feel bad about it. I feel like you can't dislike something. You don't have to be nasty in disliking it when you talk about it. Because I feel like, and this is just a side note, I feel like it's so easy now for people to spread hatred through things that come out on the internet, and being like, you hear the term thrown out, keyboard warriors, because people can hide behind a keyboard and type whatever they want, and they don't really have to reveal their real selves. And these celebrities and these artists and these actors and all these different things, like, they work hard to do their job. You know what I mean? Until you have done it, you don't know everything that it takes. And I've been fortunate in the time of being in this genre of, I guess at this point I can call myself a pundit of comic book culture, society, and I've seen a lot of things, and I've gotten a chance to meet different people behind the scenes, and I've got to meet a couple of writers and talk to them. I've had a chance to meet and sit down and eat with a couple of artists, and everything that it goes into. Even the worst comic book it took time out of a person's life, and it normally takes like it. Artists. Some of the best artists crank out a page to a page and a half a day. That's the higher end, higher output artist. So it takes time. Even the crap might be what to you, the crappiest looking book is not crappy to everyone because it's subjective. And a lot of hard work goes behind just getting one comic book on the shelf each month. It's not easy, and not everyone could do it. There's a lot of people that are listening to this right now wish they had the opportunity and wish they had the talent to do it, so they can't. We see so much of culture now that it's all this internet bullying and all this craziness going on when it shouldn't be. Like, you should be able to talk constructively, be it negatively or positively, about anything without totally like bullying and destroying and trying to run it down. But it seems like it's become the popular culture to build something up to tear it down. Like I said, and I just realize now, I guess the older I get and, in life, and then setting example for the younger generation, looking at things like my grandson and my kids and things of that nature, being a more positive example and try to break that stereotype. We have control over that. And don't buy into it. Like I said, you don't have to trip and be like, this is the worst person, or I'm going to go find this person on the internet and tell them how much they suck. Like, it's no need for that. I can say my piece and be like, this is not for me. I don't doubt that people might not like it, but it's just not for me personally. So I could do that, move on, and be very positive about it. And I wish we strive harder to push more of that, because I feel like at times this whole internet society is so much toxicity to it now, and we have to fight to kind of get the positivity back. And I hope I do my job in doing my part when it comes to that in this podcast. When I talk about stuff, even if it's things that I dislike, that I talk about it still in a positive light and constructively when I talk about it. Last but not least, the last book I want to talk about in this roundup of Cutting the Stack is Wonder Woman issue 4 from Rebirth. This is written by Greg Rucka. The year one, because it's like the year they did the first year. Greg Rucka was doing the flashback story, year one story with Nicola Scott as the artist, and then the current day story with Liam Sharp doing the art for it. So, and they alternated issue by issue. So I did the other issues in the previous Cutting the Stack DC episode. So finally got the issue 4. I think I got that whole first year run now, so I'm going to go back and review the other issues that you'll see more of those coming up. Again, so it's written by Greg Rucka, artwork done by Nicola Scott, colorist is I hope I pronounced this correctly, Romulo Forjado Jr. I hope I didn't butcher it too bad. And lettering is done by Jody Wynn. So, again, like I said, I finally finished out that first arc. They had a sale, and I picked up the rest of the issues in this first year that Rucka was on the book. So I know I'm going to read at least that much of it. So I'll trickle out the rest because I got the individual issues. I don't know if it's traded yet or not, but I got the individual issues. So, as I do more Cutting the Stacks, I'll throw in a new issue here and there till I finish up that run, because it really has me. It's, again, Greg Rucka writing like any female character. I give him credit that he's one of the best male writers at writing female characters, from Wonder Woman to, if you've ever read Queen and Country, Whiteout, if you look at Checkmate and Sacha Bordeaux, he's just great at writing female characters, hero characters. He just does a great job, and I loved his initial run for DC years back that he did with Wonder Woman. He did some really cool stories. They just actually, I just picked this up, and this was also, I think, in my last comic book haul episode where I talked about I got it on sale. They're going back, because with the movie being successful and ramping up for the new movie, they're going back and doing collections of all the greatest runs on Wonder Woman with all the best writers and our artists. So they're doing a Wonder Woman by George Perez, and they're doing volumes of that. They're also doing Rucka, and I got the first volume of that Wonder Woman by Greg Rucka. It's a volume 2, but again, I'm not paying full price for it, so I'm waiting to that. Another sale comes around, and I'll grab the second volume. It's, as far as I know right now, it's only the 2 volumes that are out right now. So I just love his take on Wonder Woman. And I'm really liking this flip story of the origin story and reworking the origin. It kind of more realigns with what we've been familiar with from the movies with some slight tweaks. Nicola Scott artwork is just, phenomenal. And it's like crazy when I think about Nicola Scott and I think about Ed McGuinness. And, this, again, kind of dates me and shows my age. When I was growing up as a kid, because I know we have so many different variations of age groups and everything and demographics that listen to the podcast, which was awesome. So for the younger people, for the older people that know what I'm talking about, just humor me and listen to me. But for the younger people, we used to have things called magazines. We don't have much of magazines anymore, like in the sense we did back then. One of the most popular magazines for comic book fans back in the day, because we didn't have things like the internet, or the internet was, I think not Image, but Wizard was still around as the internet came out, but it slowly got waned out due to all the internet comic book sites popping up, and they were doing the same thing as the magazine was doing, and you didn't have to wait a month for an issue to be printed. You could just go online and get updates constantly, so it kind of killed Wizard. But the cool thing about Wizard as a magazine publisher was that, they would run contests, and it helped artists like Nicola Scott, where they had an artwork contest. She submitted some pictures there. I think she won the contest and did a cover, and she always loved Wonder Woman, and that was the first time I ever saw her artwork was on. She won the Wizard contest, and I think she got a cover drawing Wonder Woman. Somebody at DC saw it, and she ended up eventually drawing Wonder Woman, and she's had a career in comics ever since. Same thing with Ed McGuinness. He won a contest in his artwork. So it always gives me a throwback to the Wizard days. Every time I see your name or I see Ed McGuinness, it's like, I know where I first saw you guys, and it was in the pages of Wizard. And they did so many cool things. They would partner with the different publishers and have exclusive things you could send off, and you can get exclusive 0 issues or half issues, and that was like a big thing. Wizard did a lot. It would have a price guide in the back of every issue, so you could, if you were a speculator, you could see what your comics are worth. It was something unique, and sometimes I miss it because we don't have a one-stop shop equivalent to what the Wizard magazine was digitally now. We get news, and we got things like podcasts to do certain things, like they used to do fan casting for movies when they used to speculate about if this comic book movie was made. Now we have thousands of them, and it's funny, if you go back and look at those issues, they did all that stuff before any of those movies went into production, and most of those movies they dreamt about and do dream casting on, a lot of that stuff came to pass and came true. And so it's kind of funny all these years later, looking back at that, and how the comic book information slash entertainment genre in itself in comic book culture has changed, because that was like the go-to definitive magazine. If you were a comic book fan, you bought Wizard every month, or you subscribed to Wizard magazine, and that's where you got the lowdown exclusive interviews and all that kind of stuff. And we're seeing some of it making a comeback now with what is it that DC is doing? With DC, they do the free little thing, the DC what is it called? I just freaking saw it. DC Nation. They're putting out the DC Nation now, which is a free kind of like they do interviews, spotlight, and preview new stuff that's coming out. Kind of all the stuff that previews used to do back in the day. Marvel is doing similar thing as well with their previews, and they slapping interviews in it, and they're kind of making it more of a informational base. But Marvel.com is just a phenomenal resource. Like with all the different stuff they have going on, it's like you can get lost. And DC is as well. I don't think the smaller companies I don't think Image and things like that do it as much dealing with the mixed media. But they do, a lot of the publishers have YouTube channels and stuff like that where you can get information, and they're doing like trailers for upcoming events and comics, which is really cool. But it's all over the place now. But it was cool to have that one book you could pick up every month, and it was like one of the few magazines that I would read cover to cover, because it would be chock full of so many cool things and stuff to look out for in the comic book industry. Hopefully, a lot of us as podcasters kind of bring that similar vibe into our shows. That kind of that's where a lot of it came from. Was from that and loving that as a kid, and being an adult and getting into podcasting, and kind of trying to keep that spirit of what Wizard was alive through through the podcast. I hope that I do anyway, because it was a fond memory from my childhood. But again, this is a phenomenal story. I gave Wonder Woman issue 4 a 9 out of 10. They just are killing it. I know I'm way behind. I know a different creative team and all that is on Wonder Woman at this point, but I'm catching up from my humongous stack of comics, and I'll be doing more of these episodes. Like I said, I've been really putting my nose to the grindstone and trying to catch up on my tremendous backlog, and I keep buying stuff because I keep seeing good deals, and there's so much stuff that I want to read. So it'll be more of the Cutting the Stack episodes coming for all the individual publishers. So don't fret about that. I got a ton of more of these episodes coming out. Don't worry. And like I said, I'm trying to rotate them evenly so I don't give you too much DC Cutting the Stack episodes or too much Marvel. Like I said, I just did a Valiant. I think I got an Image. The next one I probably do will be one for Image. And I'm going to try to keep them rotated to keep it even through all the different publishers to hopefully expose you guys to different comics and different stuff. So I hope I'm doing a good job of that. Always let me know. Last but not least, before I get out of here, don't forget about the contest. There's a few days left before the contest ends. It ends the end of this month. So if you're unfamiliar with it, if you haven't heard about it, you go to comicbooksavant.com. If you want to register on the website, I have 6 bundles, comic book bundles that I'm giving away. That's a mix of comics and trade paperbacks. I have 3 different 6 bundles, and I'm giving away 2 on each kind of platform. I'm giving 2 away on the website, 2 away on Instagram, 2 away on the YouTube channel. So what you need to do, if you want to register for the website, go to comicbooksavant.com, go back to Comic Book Savant Extra, episode 16. Go to that episode, comment on the comment section for that episode, and I will take all the people that comment on that episode. Remember, Comic Book Savant Extra, episode 16. That's where I first announced the contest and talk about it. So you must go to that episode. The people that leave comments for that episode will be in the drawing to win one of the 2 prize packs for that giveaway. If you want to register for YouTube or on Instagram, it's a similar thing. If you're not already subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Comic Book Savant. I've done a video. It should already be up at this point. You should see a video, and it'll be pinned. I will mark it in some special way that you'll see it when you go to the YouTube channel and you comment on that. You leave a comment. You have to be a subscriber to the channel, and you have to leave a comment for that video, and then you'll be registered for that drawing. And on Instagram, it's the same thing. You have to be a follower on Instagram. It's a post that I've already done where I did a picture of posting pictures of the bundles after I put them together. It should be pinned. I'm going to find a way to pin it. And if you go there, you have to follow, like, and leave a comment on that Instagram post, and you'll have 1 entry on each contest. So you'll have a chance to win something through one of the, you have a better chance to win. That's why I kind of separated it up on the different platforms. So hopefully give as many people as many chances to potentially win something as possible. It's just me giving back to you guys for all the support you've given me over the years. I want to give a shout out to, and just the thing here too, check out my friend Ron Sanders, Comic World Florida. He helped donate some of the stuff that I'm giving away. He has a comic book shop down there. He has online ordering as well, similar to what you would see with in-stock trades in DCB service. He has great discounts. He's doing free bag and boarding on his comic book orders as well. I have links to Comic Book World Florida on the website. If you go to the links page, you'll see him under retailers, and you'll have a link to the website as well via there as well. So definitely check him out and show him some love, because he was great for him. He's a fan of the show, but then he actually even, donated some stuff to me and, said just like, do what you want with it, give it to your, listeners, or just, do whatever, which I thought was really cool. So I thought it would just be great to kind of give back to you guys. So if you go to the links page, it's under sponsors. He's a sponsor of the show as well, so you can check him out. It's comicworldflorida.com. So actually show him some love as well, and I appreciate him for everything that he did, allowing giving me some stuff to give away to you guys. Again, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow on Instagram so you can register to win for the contest. As always, check out InStockTrades.com, ComicWorldFlorida.com, and that's all I have for you guys for this week's episode. So you guys have a good week, and I will see you guys next time for another episode of Comic Book Savant. You guys take care. Have a good week.